All right, I'm live.
Not until YouTube tells me.
Not until YouTube tells you? YouTube should tell you.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's going?
Yay.
Yeah.
My goodness.
We out here.
Whoa. Okay.
That one guy says, hello. Blue hyphen says first. Brandon Malovich says, hello, sir. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? It's been a long 2 weeks, but guess who came crawling back? Let me post this to Twitter quickly. All right. We are all good. Sir, you are not first. Hey there. What's up? Yo, yo. Everybody's here. My face hurts because of my braces. Oh, that's sad. I don't want your face to hurt. Do you like beans? Depends. What kind of beans? I mean, outside of just being a funny name for a food. Yeah, beans are pretty good, right? All right, let me get the stream up on my phone so I can read the chat. There we go. Can you do the Thug Shaker?
You don't have it open?
What's the Thug Shaker?
I don't know what that is. You don't have the chat open?
I haven't set up the second monitor yet.
I like the Hello Kitty in the background.
Oh, yeah, somebody's commenting on the Hello Kitty. Do you like squirrels and or frogs? Squirrels are pretty awesome.
Frogs.
Yeah, frogs are pretty cool as well. What I like about squirrels is that they kind of look like hamsters, just with really long tails and slightly longer limbs. Yeah, squirrels are okay. All right. Let's go over to this game. Yeah.
Frogs.
Yeah. Yeah. Frogs, we got that is Wendy and Ludwig. They're perfect. Halo Bro says, hey man. How are you doing, guys? Welcome. My man be having a Master Chief and Hello Kitty plush. I am. Let me make sure the stream is not too loud. Or the game audio, I mean.
Oh, there was a super chat.
Yeah.
Fenton Williamson.
Thoughts on the Actman and Quantum TV stuff? That's kind of insane that poor Kelly has to deal with that. I mean, granted, now it's, I guess that's like the sign that you've made it as a YouTuber, when you've got like people trying to abuse YouTube's copyright strike system. So, you know, I guess there's a congrats there, but holy moly. All right. Good to see you back. I got hit with COVID recently, so this is a nice change of pace, says Deep Fried and Android. I am sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you're taking care of yourself. Relax. Why not Twitch? Mostly because, well, let's be honest. Need to pay some bills. And I'm still getting started on Twitch. But, you know, it's also, it was maybe a bit...
It's just fun to go back and forth.
It's fun to go back and forth is the honest answer.
Because there's a lot of people on YouTube who either don't want to go to Twitch or don't want to keep up with learning how to use Twitch. And honestly, YouTube is just easier sometimes, so why not visit both?
Yeah, that's basically the truth of it. I don't want to cut one group of people out. Do you think they'll add infection after a classic shotgun is added? Beta footage for infection shows that it's clearly not ready in its current state, to be honest, says Ambi. I actually haven't watched the beta footage. What's it like? Are they just using, like, the energy sword? I mean, my hope would be that they'd get infection into the game sooner rather than later. Or even just, like, not even the infection game mode. Like, just have a upon death, switch to other team, yes or no, in, like, custom games, you know? All right, we'll do some Fiesta. Actually, no, we'll do quick play, because Strongholds, we gotta find that. So will you do Twitch and YouTube streams? That's the plan. That's the plan. I'm going to switch between YouTube and Twitch. What I'm thinking is maybe YouTube, we could do it every couple of weeks. And on Twitch, I could do that a little bit more regularly. Infection has the Bulldog. It's bad. Oh, boy. I'd imagine that they wouldn't want to use something like the Heat Wave, since the Heat Wave... it's got too much range to it, I think. Like, that could easily kind of collapse the game mode just a little bit if players get too good with the Heat Wave. But, man, Infection with a Bulldog's going to be boring. Why is your Spartan looking like Pepsi Man? I don't know. It was fun. I had him super colorful. It's really blocky with the range of the Bulldog, and the maps aren't very good for it compared to Halo 5's infection-focused maps. Zombies have few close quarters to do well in. Got it. Okay. Did somebody, like, data mine it, or was it, like, leaked from an internal build of the game? That is disappointing to hear that Infection is in such a rough state. Alrighty. Why is Chief so thick? Oh, because it's just like a funny image of Pablo's Chief. Oh, I finally caught up on the Halo show. I finally watched episode 6. Episode 3, or was it 3? No, we watched, I think we stopped with it. Episode 4 was the one that was, like, not good. That was pretty bad. Whatever the episode was with, where you spend, like, so long with Quan. And then there's, like, that embarrassing moment where the lady is, like, running around and yelling with a ninja sword. That was pretty bad. But then, thankfully, after that, the show picked up. I think, finally, the show is starting to, like... As goofy as it is, I do like the Dr. Halsey stuff and the Master Chief stuff, even if it is a tad melodramatic. But the Quan stuff is just not working. It's just not that interesting. And it sucks, because it's not because of the actors, because the guy playing Soren, as well as Quan, like, they're good. They're giving it their all. It's just, like, the plot that they're forced to do just is not that interesting. And the sets don't even look that good. It almost looks like something from, like, the new modern Star Trek. Oh, no, it's just very cheap. I'm hoping it improves. Because I thought Quan started off really strong in the first episode. Have you ever considered hosting custom games nights, or is it still too buggy to be used? It's very buggy, custom games still, and on top of that, I don't think there is even an option for open lobbies. Because, you know, it's not like that would have been super cool to have in a Halo game. Apologies for the scuffed sniper gameplay. Ooh, I'm still getting used to playing on this monitor I haven't touched. Here, let's pop up that a little bit. Are you going to disable the player outlines when the update is released? Oh, yeah. Yeah, those outlines are going bye-bye. I am so tired of mobile game Halo. I'm so tired of, like, all the, like, beautiful armor, beautiful art, like, just completely grossed up by these ugly neon mobile game glowies over everything. Is 343 ever going to fix speed lines when you run? I have mine off, but they're always still there. I'd imagine that they probably have it like logged as a bug internally. It's more a matter of, are they ever going to fix it? Hopefully this new update from Joe Staten about the drop pod system, that has me a little bit hopeful. Old 343, from like, you know, I guess prior to this update, I would have, unfortunately, without flinching, I probably would have said, oh yeah, I'm sure they'll fix it in like a year. Because with them, they seemed to have that approach where it's like, well, it doesn't break the game, so we'll fix it later. And it's kind of like, it's not that it breaks the game, it's just that it's not that polished, is it, you know? I guess it's like, I mean, sure, you know, it doesn't break the game. That's, like, fair, but I guess, I don't know. If you care about, like, the game's presentation coming off as polished, then, you know, probably should fix those small things, because it just comes across as sloppy. It's like, well, okay, why'd you even include the option, then, if it's broken? Just remove that option if you're not going to fix it. Season 2 Battle Pass is bussin'. I'm so done with 343. I've stuck it out for 10 years, and I have no faith in them anymore. Wake me up when another developer gets Halo. I'm out. That's possibly a little bit hyperbolic, but I'm not exactly going to blame you, you know? Halo Infinite's first year, so a single year of the game being out, and we got a map for Arena. And only for Arena. And a map for only Big Team Battle. And then a mode Halo used to launch with. And then 2 original modes. And I guess I don't know. I saw some people pretty hyped about the Battle Pass, but I don't know, what's the point of the Battle Pass? I feel like I'd be way more interested in the Battle Pass if there was more ways to, like, play the game, you know? You can have the most beautiful progression system on planet Earth, or the most beautiful monetization system. But if I don't want to play the game, then, you know, what's the point of that? So I don't know. I'm not too hyped about the Battle Pass. I'm just like, okay, fine. Yeah, sure, it looks fine. Like, I don't think there's going to be enough content to make me play the game, because what's going to happen once I finish that Battle Pass, you know? It's like, oh my god, there's so many tiers! And then in a month, I'm done with it. And then it's like, oh, well, back to playing other games, you know? So I don't know, just, I guess, until there's a proper progression system, until they add back features that probably should have been in the game at launch, I'm just not that interested. The Battle Pass seems just kind of like, who cares, I guess. That's just how I feel. Rebecca reveal when? Rebecca is literally here somewhere. There she is. She's on the couch smiling.
But you missed the super chat.
I did?
Now I'm here to tell you and notify you every time you miss.
Hey man, you're the ASMR of Halo. Also, I'm definitely playing without the outlines when the update comes out. Keep it up, man. Thanks for the content. It says King of Farts.
Yeah?
I think Rebecca would say that there's a real King of Farts around here, and he's sitting in this chair.
King of Farts.
Yeah.
Also, do you like the Hello Kitty cup with the...
Yeah, what do you guys think? This is my life now.
And
I'm
then
surrounded by
this.
cute fuzzy things.
Master Chief?
Yeah. They're friends.
Rebecca, come over. Or, oh, I was
Shonda.
like... Okay, bye, guys.
I love you. You're sweet. Sean W. described Infinite as a weekend shooter you play every once in a while. Thoughts? At its current state, yeah. It's like one of those games where you haven't played it for weeks. And then you see something like the Halo show, or you see like a Halo montage, and you're like, man, Halo's cool. And then you hop on Infinite, and you have like a really good game, and you're like, dude, Halo's like fun. Why did I stop playing Infinite? And then a couple of days of playing it, and enough of the problems stack up that you're like, oh, that's why I stopped playing it. And then you leave, and then a couple weeks pass, and the same thing happens again, you know? Complete quick play matches. Okay, we're almost there then. Let's see if we can get this black here. Actually, before I matchmake, let me switch out the goofy color that I have, because, you know, that's the thing. You can't customize your Spartan when you're matchmaking. The technology to do that must have gotten lost long ago, because if I remember right, previous Halo games let you do that. I guess that'll have to just be part of the live service roadmap, too. What's a good Spartan color? Let's do blue. I've been feeling really bad the kind of the red versus blue blues, so to speak. So I try to make sure that my armor coatings are red or blue, because I'm like, I don't know. Halo multiplayer feels weird if, like, my gauntlets don't have red or blue colors on them. Unless, of course, I'm playing free-for-all. Sean McHalo, bro. Dude, Sean, he keeps the grind up. Look, that guy's dedicated. I think Halo would be better if it was community-driven, like Team Fortress and Counter-Strike. For sure. That's the direction Halo probably should have gone in. They should have made the game super, like, modular out of the gate, instead of kind of, like, locking things down. That's like the Infection game type. Why is... I think Faven made a really good point, where it's like, why is Fiesta developed as its own independent game mode? Why isn't it just a custom games toggle for Slayer? You know, randomized spawns, yes or no? Like, it takes a lot of resources to develop and playtest, like, a new mode. So the fact that 343, instead of making it just a variant of Slayer in the custom game settings, the fact that they went out of their way to develop it as its own independent mode, it's like, you guys probably could have saved a lot of time. And same with Infection. Why isn't there, like, a toggle in Slayer for, you know, upon death, switch to enemy team, yes or no? There we go. Double kill. I think there's one more guy down there, though. I'm checking my radar. I don't see him. How you doing, cutie? There's a super chat. I missed them. Just yell at me every time I miss one. I thought you weren't going to stream for a while. How are the turntables? Anyways, I'll catch the rest later. Yeah, that's basically where I am. So I came crawling back, huh? Yeah, that... I didn't need to, like... It doesn't need to be one or the other. There doesn't need to be the nuclear option, you know? Yeah, exactly. Q Alter says, can't wait for Season 2 so I can get that... So that I can get that I didn't commit any work crimes. Elite shoulder pads. Also, completed pacifist. Didn't end well. Oh, yeah, that's right. That there's just like an elite skull shoulder pad. That's kind of morbid, right? Like, when playable elites arrive, are we just going to be able to have, like, a human skull? Wonder how elites would feel about that. What kind of armor are you rocking? I am not sure. I don't really have a lot of emotional attachment to any of my Spartan armors right now, because I don't... The game doesn't have the capability to get them where I want them to be. Definitely hurts that I can't customize my own colors. So I have to kind of like hope and pray that there is a developer-made coding that is at least close to what I would have wanted. Super chats will come with a notification from me, says Rebecca. Yeah. She's here, so she can literally scream from the other room to pay attention. I love the Combat Evolved charm. Probably one of the only things I'm going to wear. You know, okay, I take it back. I don't not care about the new Battle Pass. There were some things in there that I loved. I liked the Med Pack, the Halo Combat Evolved Med Pack, and the Halo Combat Evolved logo. That was cool. I thought Late Night Gaming wasn't supposed to stream on YouTube anymore. Yeah, Late Night Gaming says a lot of things that he walks back. It doesn't need to be the nuclear option, basically. Like, I don't have to be like, oh, I also have a Twitch now. Bye forever, YouTube. Like, no. The plan is that I will also stream on YouTube. Not as often as Twitch, but, you know. You guys are here, right? And I shouldn't force you to migrate over to Twitch. Right? Yeah, right? Alright. Oh my god. This stupid fucking gun. Okay, let's go over here. The Disruptor almost feels like a gun that was developed before there was a solid idea for what it should even do within the sandbox. Because I don't know. Alright, here we go. Oof. Ah! Doesn't help that Twitch is taking 20% more from streamers' income soon. Are they? Well, that's super messed up of Twitch.
Stronghold Charlie is ours. Stronghold Alpha lost.
I love how the entire industry is tripping over themselves to copy all of the monetization stuff that Team Fortress 2 did without taking notes on all the subtle details that made it actually appealing. Yeah, basically. Like, they wanted the success, but didn't understand why the community stayed. That was also, like, definitely a frustrating part. Now, Jerry Hook, head of design at 343, he's a really sweet guy, okay? Like, I like him a lot. And part of the reason that all he ever talks about is the Battle Pass. Oh my god, Super Chat, part of the reason that he only ever talks about the Battle Pass stuff is because, you know, he's not, like, developing the content. That's kind of his business. But I do hope that future live streams from 343 maybe chill on focusing on the monetization stuff, because you can make the world's best Battle Pass in the world. It doesn't matter. The game needs more content. I want to see how that's being solved behind the scenes, you know? I want to know what's going to go on, because the game is 1/4 the game that Halo Reach was, and that's kind of not acceptable for a Halo game. And now the Super Chat. Q Alter says, I believe we should release thousands of monkeys into New York City. They can survive there. Also, why does Thailand get to keep all the good monkeys? That's interesting. I mean, like, as an idea, like, I'm not against the idea of just unleashing monkeys into an urban environment and seeing what would happen. My concern would be people's safety as well as the safety of the monkeys. How would the monkeys eat, I guess? Because, like, also, oh my god. Like, as funny as it would be, just because monkeys are really funny, how would the monkeys be expected to survive? Would the monkeys fight amongst themselves? They'd probably start attacking pedestrians, right? Because, well, I guess it depends. Like, are these monkeys acclimated to, like, people? Or are they just, like, wild animal monkeys? Because if they are, they might just start attacking people because they don't know what's going on. They're in a foreign environment. The milk. I love you. Sending a super just to have Rebecca scold you. That's not nice.
Enemy has captured Charlie. Enemy team.
Clearly, we seem to be talking about monkeys. Yeah, the monkeys would eat bananas, but like where? Where would the bananas come from? Because all of the idea is let's just release monkeys into New York City. How are they going to find bananas? And I'm fairly certain the monkeys eat more than bananas. Like, that's more of just, a trope.
The enemy has captured Alpha. We captured Bravo.
That's ridiculous.
We have captured Charlie. Your team's
What is this conversation? Well, somebody brought up the idea of releasing monkeys into New York City. I will give it the attention it deserves. There needs to be less stray enemas in urban environments. Name animals in urban environments. Deep Fried Android says, there are times that I feel that the Halo engine is currently held together by Elmer's glue and store brand duct tape. The Halo engine itself isn't the... Yeah, I did, babe. The Halo engine itself isn't the problem. It's the way that it's developed, because the Halo engine, when it's working for you, it purrs. But when the game isn't developed properly under the hood and like systems are kind of like unfinished, then the Halo engine, you got a lot of problems. It's kind of like the Frostbite engine, When Frostbite games are developed well, they feel really good and look very good. And when they're not developed very well, they can feel like just a pile of trash. And definitely with Halo Infinite, you can feel the stress and the time crunch that the developers were under, because it definitely feels like a lot of compromises must have been made under the hood to get the game out the door. And something that I almost wonder is how much of like the time being taken to update the game. What if it's a lot of it is compromising? So much time was spent just getting the game out the door, and that meant deliberately developing shortcuts. Even though they were sloppy, it was the only thing they could do with the time that they had to get the game out the door. And now, behind the scenes, now that they have time, they're going back and redeveloping to be less sloppy and a little bit more modular. It's almost like the best way I can pitch it is, imagine this cartoon scenario in your head. You're trying to sell a house to somebody, and the investors are coming over, and you were really betting on somebody coming in and like helping you out, but that guy never showed up, and so you had to get started late. And now you're like, oh my god, we gotta rush. And then someone has a brilliant idea, which is, why don't we get a cardboard cutout of a house? And from a distance, it'll look like we built the house and that it's there. And, like, the investors come and they're like, oh, yeah, that's a really good house. But we're standing over here. It's like, yes, it's fine. You like the house? And they're like, yeah, we like the house. And then they leave and you're like, oh, thank God. Okay, we gotta quickly make a house. And like you take down the cardboard and then you actually have to get to work constructing. That's what I think happened with Halo Infinite. Explosive B-Dog says, hey, late night, just wanted to say keep up the good work. Between you, Hidden Experience, and Actman, it's good to see you all branching out. I've noticed a considerable change in the mood and energy since everyone decided to branch out. Definitely. It's been relaxing, not focusing on Halo. Because sometimes you forget why you liked Halo in the first place. When all you do is cover it. Interestingly, though, the Halo TV show has been like a lot of fun. There is a lot of stuff I don't like about the Halo TV show that they're doing, story-wise. But there's also some stuff where I'm like, that is kind of interesting that they're doing that. Like particularly Dr. Halsey and what's going on with her. And it's kind of like, you know what? Halo is pretty cool. Like when the Jackals or dropping down in the Halo show, or the grunt hijack the warthog. I was like, God damn it, I love Halo. But yeah, definitely the branching out. It's a nice break from Halo every now and then. Have you heard of the Act-Man drama? Apparently he's being sued by some extreme narcissist. Yeah, the Quantum TV guy. Act-Man will be fine. That Quantum, like, we've seen enough of those cases. Like, there's gonna be a lot of drama. That Quantum guy is gonna be like, he's gonna be insane. He's gonna have his meltdowns and stuff. The case is gonna go nowhere, and Act-Man will be fine, and he'll have a story to tell in a couple of years. Right now, it's gonna be stressful, though. What are your opinions on curb slides and super slides, and do you think they're too strong, or do you think the skill required to execute them? Would you like them removed? For Halo Infinite, I don't like sliding in games. I think it's a overdone mechanic that, like, not every video game needs to be a slip and slide. It feels almost like it's one of the least creative things you can do now in a video game. Like, oh, let me guess, if I press the crouch button while I'm sprinting, I'll go into a slide. Like, how original. And I think it's very annoying that it kind of, like, creates this gameplay dynamic where every time somebody enters a room, they're always on the floor sliding. But, I don't know. I guess I haven't seen the curb slide enough to really comment on it. The Milk Product, MK2 says, despite my qualms with the Halo show's writing, Vanek is unironically my favorite character in the new timeline. Yeah, the Halo TV show, the dialogue is not the strongest. I'd say the dialogue is probably the weakest aspect of the Halo show, just because of how like how incredibly uncreative and unambitious it can be at times. But every now and then it has moments where I'm like, that was pretty well written and well executed. Episode 6 in particular, I think, had quite a few well-written moments. And Vanek, that was pretty good. His insult to Spartan Kai. We do like Spartan Kai, though, Rebecca and I. That was fun. She took out her pellet, and then she got yassified. I remember we were looking at the trailer for the Halo show, and it was just she had pink hair, and it was just like, well, if they're supposed to be so emotionless, why does she have pink hair? That doesn't make any sense. Well, now we know why, and it's actually a fucking great idea. It's like, yes, sister. Thoughts on Season 2? Not nearly enough, but the explanation was good. Halo Infinite slide is great, but perfect. There's a glitch when you clamber and slide at the same time. Makes you move at like you're 4,000 pounds. What? Makes you move like you're 4,000 pounds? So you just, like, slow down a lot? Damn it. Gotta get my Halo game back on. It definitely also sucks that just, I guess, coming back to Halo Infinite, it's like, oof. I can definitely feel that it's not as smooth, the aiming in Halo Infinite. And the energy sword being bugged really drives me crazy, the visual issue. They didn't align some of the energy sword's graphical effects properly. So that's what gives it like that bizarre black outline. It doesn't look like the alpha effects are layering properly. Like, basically, the glow is accidentally rendering behind the blade and instead of in front of the blade. And it looks like they didn't even align the glow properly, so it's slightly misaligned. Damn it. When will Kai spill the tea? That's what I'm saying. Why is the gravity hammer so inconsistent? Probably for the same reason everything else is inconsistent. The hit detection, net code, everything just isn't that great in this game. Do you think the Halo demo will ever be playable, says Persian Guy? I'd imagine it would only be playable via a fan recreation of it. Because the thing about that demo, that E3 demo, is it's barely playable. Like, it was only developed for a very specific route to take. Like, basically, if you go anywhere but what they did in that demo, it just starts to fall apart. The frame rate starts to tank. It starts to feel like inconsistent, sloppy AI starts to break and stuff. Like, it's not a sandbox. It's very scripted. So you could play it if a fan recreated it or if it got leaked, but you'd have to play exactly the same way that they played in that demo at E3 all those years ago. Otherwise, you know, so you'd probably get bored of playing it after a while because there just wouldn't be that much to do in it. Damn it. Why does 343 ship half-baked Halo games? I'd imagine it's a combination of the priorities not being in the right place for those in charge, maybe even, you know, just taking too long to settle on certain things. But then also just probably, like, genuine development struggles, because, like, Halo Infinite kind of got started, I guess. You know, things really got rolling and started coming together right when COVID hit. And so that's not really a thing that any studio knows how to do. You know, there isn't like that developer handbook of, in case of pandemic, do plan B. You know, it's a thing that like all these different development studios had to figure out on the fly, how to actually develop a game from home. So it was probably really hard and sucked up a lot of development time. Hi, gorgeous.
Hi. I'm going to be passing a lot around here.
Yeah, that's okay, babe. I love you. Rebecca's being cute.
Yeah? Was that another super chat?
Yeah. Man, Twitch TV turned red all of a sudden. It did turn red, didn't it, Savart the Lore Master Farmer? I am still going to be streaming on Twitch.
I know that name.
Yeah, it's him.
It's Hims?
It's Hims from Twitch.
And there's another
Scorpius Venomous says, "Hi, can I have your friend code for Xbox?" Friend code? I don't think...
friend code?
No.
That's Nintendo, boss.
Yeah, that's Nintendo. I want Halo on the Switch.
I know.
Craig
Such an easy console.
Craig Goss says, was Halo 4 considered half-baked? No, I wouldn't say that. Halo 4 was definitely missing features. It was missing campaign theater mode. It was missing scoring and timing for campaign. It was missing playable elites. But outside of that, well, Firefight, that's the big one, but at least it had Spartan Ops. So you could make the argument that it's not that it was missing Spartan Ops, it's just they developed that it was missing that third mode. It's just that they developed the wrong third mode for the game. You guys are married, right? Not yet. Not yet, but that's the plan. Halo TV show made me realize how much passion that Halo Forward Unto Dawn had. I'd say the Halo TV show has plenty of passion as well. There's a lot of deep cut references in the Halo show where it's like, okay, these guys definitely know the Halo universe. Let's get Halo 5 on PC, agreed? I would like to see Halo 5 on PC, if for nothing else than just get all the Halo games on PC. It would probably be very annoying to play, because that's like a game of 1,000 buttons, where just like a simple move across the map makes you feel like you're playing a fighting game, where it's like, okay, now I've got to thrust, boost, slide, jump, hover, air dash. But it would be cool to see, like, modders actually fix a lot of the graphical problems, like increase the view distance, get rid of that ugly, like, animation frame rate cut, probably re-implement self-shadowing that was in the Halo 5 beta, but then it was disabled for the final game, and so all the guns look like ugly plastic. It would be cool to see what modders could do. They could probably even unlock some of the graphical effects from the beta that were just cut. I need an assault rifle to get kills with right now, I think. I forgot if it said that I need to also get mangler kills. I'll try to use the mangler just to be safe. Halo 5 was so buttery to play. Okay. I didn't find it very buttery, but okay. I'm not gonna argue. Halo 5 beta lighting was goated. It was, right? It was, like, really good looking. Like, the shadows popped, the volumetrics looked really good. Like, what happened in the final game? It just looks so, like, flat and cheap in comparison. And they just completely disabled self-shadowing on the gun, so you never see your own character's shadow fall across the surface of the rifle. It's so... One of the first things I did when I got to San Helios in Halo 5, as Locke, you know, when you come down and you land in the water, I got onto dry land, looked at my feet, no shadow. No shadow. I wasn't casting any shadow. And it immediately, that was like a, oh no, moment for me. Because that stuff bugs me. Halo 5 custom games are pretty fun for me. Yeah, Halo 5 custom games, now as they are, they're very good. I'm hoping that Halo Infinite gets to that point. With the Forge mode. Do more face cams, 100%. Mangler sucks now? No, it has. They haven't implemented the nerf yet. Oh boy. Oh, the new narrative season is about an AI corrupting other AI. Yeah, I did see something like that. I don't know how it's going to turn out. Also, I don't know how it's going to be implemented into the multiplayer, because I'm going to tell you, if it's just a cutscene, like, oh my god, this is happening, and then we go back into matchmaking, and that's it. Like, that's not enough for me to, like, feel emotionally invested in this. Eat. Have you played Halo 5's Forge mode, the PC version of Halo 5? Of course I have. It's, whenever I need Halo 5 footage, it's actually the way that I always play it. Because you can, there is a mod called Exuberant for it that lets you, like, increase draw distance, screw around with your FOV and all that stuff. Eey. It's a very bad PC port, but, you know. Sometimes it's just easier than having to, like, hook up the Xbox and everything. Do you think the assault rifle should have had the Halo 4 and 5 design, not the Reach one in Infinite? I don't mind the Reach assault rifle. I actually quite like it. This is more of a personal thing, but, like, that Halo 4 and Halo 5 assault rifle design, I associate it with very bad memories from, like, a dark time in Halo's history. Which is not a genuine grievance, okay? Like, that is very silly and irrational, but I'm kind of like, I don't want to see that assault rifle design for a little bit. I kind of want to forget that Halo 5 happened. And so as much as I strongly dislike how overpowered the assault rifle is in this game, at least it reminds me of happier times for Halo Reach. Whereas I feel like if they just used the Halo 5 assault rifle and it was this powerful, it would just make my, like, emotional opinions of that gun even worse. Which is very silly and petty, but I can be a very silly, petty person sometimes. The Halo 5 assault rifle looked pretty nice, though. It did. It was a really good design. A little bit too plasticky for my taste. It has that, like, that plasticky, rubbery look that a lot of stuff in Halo 5 had, but it was a good design. Super chat? Okay. What's your opinion on the Superintendent AI? I like it. I don't know why they're not doing, like, the proper voice, I guess, for the Superintendent. I'm sure there's a reason. Maybe the Superintendent sounds obnoxious if you hear it for hours and hours on end. A lot of people say Halo 4 and 5 AR looked good, but it looked like it had a big forehead. The assault rifle in Halo 5? That's a funny way to describe it.
5 minutes remaining. Nearing victory.
Let's go this way. Oh, I got the assault rifle here. I can get a couple kills.
The MA40 improves again. Calculating approach
Oop.
angles.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Damn it. Okay. I missed the DMR OG shotgun and the saw. Yeah, the OG shotgun I miss a lot. Even the DMR to an extent. What Halo do you think has the best soundtrack? I think it depends on the mood, because the thing about, like, I can't just say this had the best soundtrack, because I think all the different Halo games had, like, the only games where I actually don't like the soundtrack, I guess, is more for, like identity reasons, where they didn't really fit the Halo identity for me, which was Halo 4, but, as far as, like, I guess a better way to say that would be what are my favorite soundtracks. And I'd probably go with either Halo Combat Evolved or Halo 3. But I don't know, you know? I feel bad for leaving games like ODST out, because I also really like those soundtracks. ODST is so good. And it's weirdly enough, not even the songs everyone likes in ODST. Like the jazz stuff. That's good, but some of the stuff that I like in ODST is some of the more, like, unconventional songs that I don't see a lot of people praising. Do you want there to be more of a narrative in Halo Seasons instead of just a theme? What I'd like is for them to make a narrative game mode. I want to see something like Invasion, and have, like, players participate in kind of like a war across the Milky Way galaxy against the Banished. Like, each invasion map that they introduce could be like the war has advanced to a different front in the galaxy, you know? And that could be the narrative reason for why new maps are introduced. Halo's engine is terrible and has caused issues for decades. Really wish Halo was moved to a different engine. You don't wish that. Trust me. If Halo moved to a different engine, it would feel like a different game. Part of the reason that Halo has that feel, you know, the weight of a Spartan when they jump, the way a grenade bounces across the floor, the way the physics work and stuff. If Halo moved to a different engine, even just the way that, like, aiming and stuff, like, you'd feel it if Halo was on a different engine. It's part of why, you know, like those fan-made games like Installation 01 and stuff. God bless them, they tried their best, but you could tell it wasn't like a proper Halo release. It's because they're using a completely different game engine. It's more that, like, there needs to be way more time spent on polishing it up and improving the tool set for the developers. Because it seems like they've kind of, like, organization-wise, they've kind of let the engine just kind of shit the bed. And they haven't done a good job upkeep, you know? There's lots of tech debt. And it probably also doesn't help that I guess 343 uses so many contract workers, and so if they've got like an engine that is very kind of like hacked together, you've got to constantly retrain, you know, people. Tell them, okay, this is how the tools work, you need to do this, you need to do that. That way they're not constantly lost and having to like seek out, you know, the engineers or people at 343 who know the engine intimately. Because imagine, like, with the Unreal Engine, I mean, obviously you've got to learn new engines when you work on them, but with something like Unreal that people have a lot of familiarity with, you can just, like, look up YouTube tutorials of, like, okay, how do I do this thing in Unreal? You can't do that with the Halo engine. That's an internal engine that 343 has. There aren't YouTube tutorials for it. What is tech debt? Tech debt is essentially... Okay, the best way I've heard somebody describe it is... Okay, you know how Battlefield 2042 has a bug in it? And the bug is when you go down, you just never die. And that when combined with the issue of players couldn't revive you, it caused a problem where players were infinitely downed, and their game was basically soft-locked. They had to leave the game and rematch because they were never going to die, and they couldn't be revived. Well, DICE never fixed that problem. What they did was they implemented a permanent, if you're down for more than 30 seconds, you automatically respawn, which means that glitch is still there. They just cut the timer. You know, they implemented a new feature which forces you to respawn. So somewhere under the hood, that bug is still there, unfixed. They just created a hacked together way to get around it. And now imagine in 10 years from now, if they're still using the Frostbite engine, and they've got like a new feature working. Because they never fixed that bug, it had a trickle-down effect that fixed some unrelated problem in their new game 10 years from now. And they're like, what the hell's causing this? What is this? And they have to sift through years and years of code and things built on top of each other to find this bug from 10 years ago. That's basically what tech debt is, where it's like, instead of solving glitches and problems in the engine, you have like hacked together solutions, and that causes problems years from now when you start building tech on top of a bug that you never fixed, or a hacked together solution to temporarily solve a problem. And the Halo engine, it's very old, and it's been passed from, you know, developer to developer. So there are probably a lot of hacked together game systems under the hood that have just never been fixed. You know, whatever the underlying cause was for a bug, they've never fixed them. And the kind of, they're coming back to bite developers in the ass when they least expect it. I'd imagine some of like the aiming problems in Halo Infinite, that's probably related to like heavy aim and a lot of the problems in Halo 5's branch of the Halo engine. How with that game, they kind of, whatever they did under the hood kind of borked the way Halo's aiming system worked. And they never could fix it in Halo 5. They tried multiple times, but they never got it fixed. And there's probably a reason now that people are like, hey, Halo Infinite feels kind of weird. You'd probably have to like dig under the hood to find what it is initially that caused Halo 5's heavy aim issue. Hope that explained it. And I'm sure there's somebody in the chat who understands it even more, who, like, you know, intimately understands coding, and they could probably expand on that and explain more in detail what tech debt is. I need to get myself an assault rifle. Genuine question, does Microsoft care about Halo? Of course they care about Halo. There's a Halo TV show. Halo makes Microsoft a lot of money. It's their dominant first-person shooter title. Well, I guess now they have Call of Duty. Which, it's going to be interesting to see how Microsoft grapples, I guess, now with the Call of Duty franchise. Maybe they're going to view Call of Duty more as like a battle royale experience. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to Halo. It's so funny listening to you whenever you talk. You sound like you're doing an in-depth commentary. I hope that that's good. Oh boy. Damn it. Would you kiss a grunt, says Connor. No. Probably not. I mean, outside of the fact that I'm engaged. Like, grunts are aliens, man. Maybe if it's like a really cute grunt, I'll give it like a little kiss on the top of its head and like a pat, you know? Would you kiss a brute? Be a little cheeky with it? Like kiss a brute on the cheek? Again, not... I guess if Rebecca said that it would be sweet. You know, give like Craig a little kiss on the top of his little head and then pat it and rub it.
Can you kiss a brute?
Yeah.
I heard that.
Can I?
Yes, you can kiss a brute, only if I can take a picture of you kissing the brute and then edit the picture with hearts.
Okay. Can I like kiss it on the top of its head and like rub the top of its head?
Kiss it on the head, you can kiss it on the cheek, and maybe a little peck on the lips. Who knows?
I don't know if I feel comfortable giving a brute a peck on the lips, because...
If it's a boy brute or a baby brute.
Okay. Thank you, babe. I love you. Did you hear that? She gave me permission. Kiss for space COVID.
High heat. Stand back.
I wonder how COVID would... COVID would probably just be straight up lethal to, like, an alien. You know, because it's not like, what, is there immune system for, like, this Earth-born illness? Like, no, that would probably just be straight up lethal to an alien. Hell, the common cold would probably kill an alien. Would you still love Rebecca if she was actually an elite ultra and she was glassing your planet? Well, of course I would. Of course I would.
Would you love me if I wasn't the flood?
Would I love you if you were the flood? Of course I'd love you.
Would you let me take you as a grave mine?
Would I let you turn, like, corrupt me and turn me into a grave mind?
Yeah.
Of course I would. It's the way that I can prove my love to her, is by letting her absorb me into a giant fleshy mass. Yummy. Oh, man. Only if alien DNA works like ours, says HVB117. No, like like, would it kill an alien? Like, not if their DNA was like... That's not how immune systems work. The reason that the common cold doesn't kill us is because we've been exposed to it in so many different ways. If you had never come into contact with the common cold, it would probably be aggressive towards your body, because your body hadn't prepared for it. It had never experienced it. So that's why when you read about stories of, like, immigrants coming from country to country back when, you know, the world wasn't so interconnected, it was usually, like, pretty lethal. You know, there were stories of, like, just plagues breaking out when pilgrims or immigrants would cross. I mean, you read about some of the awful, awful shit that immigrants brought to the Americas, and, like, the havoc it wreaked on a lot of Native Americans, because they had not been exposed to a lot of, like, European illnesses. So imagine, like, interplanetary illnesses, like, you know, microorganisms from a different ecosystem. Like, yeah, absolutely, your body would not be prepared for it because you've never experienced anything on Earth like it. You know, the grunt sniffles would probably be lethal to us humans. Moody says, do you think if Halo Infinite focusing on new fans is executed poorly, removing body collision, grenade jumping, etc.? I understand that they want to streamline the game so newbies can easily get into the game and become new diehard fans. Halo Infinite both caters to like non-Halo fans and Halo fans at the same time, so it's very hard for me to say. Like, on one hand, you could look at some of the gameplay choices and be like, what the hell? Do they not care about fans? But I could immediately counter that with, well, look at the art style. Listen to the soundtrack, the story, the locations, even, like, I mean, the loading screens. It's like a Halo quote every other loading screen. Like, they definitely cater to Halo fans. There's a lot of fan service in Halo Infinite. It just seems like sometimes with the gameplay, like, you know, maybe some smarter choices could have been made. Most of our really nasty diseases are actually the common cold of other animals that made the 1,000,000,001 chance to jump to humans. If I remember right, like, I mean, granted, I'm going to say this without being an expert, okay? So somebody in the comments knows more than me. Viruses and, like, illnesses don't work like that, right? Like, it's not suddenly they jump, you know? It has to take millions of years to get to the point where it can jump. You know, it's not like a kind of like a freak thing that just happens in nature. Like, it gradually gets to that point where it can make the jump to a different animal. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not like zombie viruses where it's like suddenly rabies jumps to humans. What's your opinion on Halo 4 Spartan Ops? Halo 4 Spartan Ops, I think it was a fantastic idea that had way too much of a budget, and the budget was already small to begin with. I think that Spartan Ops, honestly... So there are two different ways that I would have handled Spartan Ops. One is remixed single-player levels. Like, you play through a single-player Halo 4 level, but, like, the enemy spawns are different, the situations, the encounters are all different, and there's a new narrative to them. You know, and if people are like, why are we replaying this level? Who cares? Guys, who cares? It's just a clever use of resources. And that's where you could have your story stuff. The other is if you want to go the Modern Warfare 2 Spec Ops route, where there is just no story. It's a series of just fun gameplay situations using single-player assets that are usually like, complete it like this and you get 2 stars. Complete it like this and you get 3 stars. Would you kiss the Arbiter? I don't think you can kiss an elite. They don't have lips. Random question, which root beer is better, Mug or A&W? I gotta confess, I'm not very familiar with root beer. Like, at all. Growing up, I was very, like, ew, new things when it came to food. So when it came to, like, soda and stuff, unless it was Sprite, didn't want it. And root beer is one of those things where I'm still kind of, like, holding on to that child pettiness. And I haven't tried root beer to this day. I think I tried it maybe once when I was a kid. I take that back. And was, you know, yeah, didn't like it. Not Sprite. I did try Dr. Pepper, and I wasn't the biggest fan of Dr. Pepper. I don't know, it was just a little bit too sweet for my taste. You gotta try it at least once. Yeah, I do. There are a lot of foods that I just haven't tried, like a lot of foods and drinks that I haven't tried just for, like, you know, petty reasons. Like, man, it's different, and I don't like it. And I mean, now I'm an adult who is open to change a little bit more. Damn it. I really love the story aspect of Spartan Ops. Yeah, the story stuff for Spartan Ops was cool. I think it was probably a little bit too involved, I guess, or a little bit too, like, the stakes were a little bit too high, I guess. And it was a side mode, which meant, like, you know, if you remember, so it's a side game mode where every single piece of Forerunner technology in existence was at stake. And it's like, that's really high stakes for a side game mode. How are they going to get out of this? Well, they're probably going to have to solve it. It's not going to lead anywhere. Because, well, what if you'd never played Spartan Ops, you know? And that's kind of what happened with Halo 5. You saw Spartan Ops didn't go anywhere. So I think that was the critical mistake of Spartan Ops. I think the story should have been a little bit more self-contained. Like, the galaxy should not have been at stake. In fact, actually, there's a lot of stuff about Spartan Ops that I kind of wish was almost transferred over into the main story of Halo 4. Such as, like, all the focus on what the Covenant are up to, like Julim Dama. Because it's like, that could have beefed up the Halo 4 campaign a little bit. Because a big problem with 343's Halo games is that they tend not to actually focus on the main antagonists too much. They focus more on the B-plot, Forerunner, Ancient, whatevers. And so you get things kind of like the Banished, like the Julim Dama's Covenant, where they feel almost like they're playing second fiddle. And the Banished, I think, in Halo Wars 2 were definitely 343's best efforts when it comes to fleshing out the alien enemies that we spend most of the game fighting. And Halo Infinite was a bit of a step back in that department, but I think that was less to do with like the villains, you know, them getting back to that Halo 4 thing. And I think it was more to do with just, like, they were written almost like comic book characters, if that makes sense. Like, it never came across as an army, like a military story. It came across as a personal feud between a handful of people. You know, the UNSC was not at war with the Banished. Master Chief had beef with a guy named Esheram and his friend the Harbinger. Whereas in the Bungie games, I definitely believed that the UNSC was at war with an army called the Covenant. Would you rather go on a romantic date with Julim Dama or give Chief a ride to work for a year straight? Chief's warthog is in the shop. Oh, I want to give Master Chief a ride to work for a year straight. For sure. Like, I'm sorry, Mr. Mdama, but I'm taken, you know? I had to do a double take, but Spartan Ops does reuse some areas of the Halo 4 campaign levels. Yeah, it does. And those are some of, like, the best levels. I mean, some are better than others, you know? But, like, that deserty environment, it doesn't look very good, unfortunately, but that's more or less just kind of like a problem with the Halo 4 engine. But that idea is solid, because that's such a big environment that it would be a shame to just use it in the Halo 4 campaign. And some of the Spartan Ops levels that take place in that, like, that just big deserty canyon, they're some of the best. Let me see what we got. Looks like we can go over to Team Slayer. Chief's work is on Zeta Halo? Oh, well. Okay, well, how am I gonna leave the planet? Oh, he also doesn't give me gas money? Okay, alright. Well, I guess if Chief wants to bum a ride and he's not gonna give me gas money, I'd actually have to reconsider that. Because, like, Master Chief, I love you, guy, but, like, gas costs money, you know? Is it fair to not want to return to Infinite as to not support another broken, bare-bones release? This is the way I'll put it. If you don't want to play the game, don't play it. You know, you're not... This isn't kind of like a political thing, you know? Like, you're not obligated to play, or you're not doing your duties as a Halo. It's like, dude, it's a video game. If you're not having fun, don't play it. There's plenty of Halo games that I don't have the most fun with, so I tend to prefer other Halo games over it. You know? Like, don't worry. You're not, like... You don't have to play Halo Infinite, even if it's killing you. The stakes aren't that high. Don't worry about it. Thoughts on official vehicle-focused modes? Dogfights, team race, no power weapons, infection versus vehicles and the like. I miss the chaos of Reach custom games sometimes. Definitely, for sure. I'd like some vehicle game modes. I feel like it would also help 343 really nail down a lot of the balancing problems with the vehicles, because I think... As it sits right now, Halo Infinite probably has my least favorite vehicle combat in the series. And keep in mind, in Combat Evolved, the Warthog was indestructible. So what does that say about the vehicles of Infinite, that I have less fun using them than even Halo Combat Evolved? It's the future. Gas prices are down. Just use the pilot's Pelican. Oh, okay. So, wait. We've moved on from a car to now I can, like, use a... The problem is I'm not a pilot, you know? I don't think I'd even know how to open the door of a Pelican, let alone fly one. Real question. Can viewers join your lobby? I haven't touched the game in a while. I don't even know if there is an open lobby option in Halo Infinite. Do you think we'll ever see Halo 4 and 5 armor designs in Infinite anytime soon? I'm sure. I'm sure they'll bring a Halo 4 armor core.
Use proper eye protection.
They'll probably have a whole season dedicated to Halo 4. Sentinel beam. The Ghost is really good, though. Yeah, the Ghost is solid. The Ghost, it's kind of solid. It still doesn't feel satisfying to blow up. Oh my god, damn it. It still doesn't feel satisfying to blow up a ghost. Oh, the bot's back. Let's see if I can nuke this guy from my phone. There we go. But that's kind of just a problem with the vehicles in general in Halo Infinite. I don't think a single one feels satisfying to go up against. Because it's like the damage feedback isn't that satisfying. The explosion effects aren't that satisfying, and the doomed state makes it not satisfying. Like, I don't know, it's just... You rarely ever see vehicles properly explode from a rocket. They just always enter that doomed state, and the driver safely gets out. Damn it. Halo Wars 2 gameplay when? Sarah Pro 21. If we're going to talk about Halo games that I don't really enjoy playing, I'm an RTS fan, a huge RTS fan. I love StarCraft the original. I haven't really touched StarCraft 2 too often. Also, Age of Empires 2 is my bread and butter, and I can tolerate Age of Empires 3. As well as some parts of Age of Empires, Age of Mythology. But Halo Wars, like, I have tried. Halo Wars 2, I did enjoy at launch, but over time, it's just like, I don't know, man. It's just, I want, like, a proper Halo RTS. I don't want, like, my units to just be, like, a small handful, like a very low population cap. I don't want, like, my base spots to be predetermined. I'd like to place bases anywhere. I want to build my own, like, economies. You know, I want to see, like villagers and stuff, like the Halo equivalent of, like, villagers. I want to, like, make engineers as the Banished that go out and, like, take resources and bring them back to my village town center and stuff. I don't know, just my favorite aspect of RTS games are actually the economy aspect. I'd pay good money for an RTS game that just has very little combat, and it's more about building up a town and an economy and growing it into a city or even maybe eventually a country. In Halo Wars, it's just like, I'm always having fun, building up my base, building up my economy and stuff, and then someone immediately attacks my base, and I'm like, it's not fun anymore. Like, can the pacing slow down just a tad? You're back on YouTube, huh? Yeah, I came crawling back. I'm not gonna just... It was very short-sighted of me to just be like, Twitch, YouTube, you know, like, what's the quote? Damn, I forgot the meme, fuck. Friendship ended with YouTube, now Twitch is my best friend. No, I can do both. I will say, on the topic of Halo Wars 2, the Awakening the Nightmare expansion was great. That was good. That gave me, like, hardcore StarCraft memories of the Terran campaigns against the Zerg. Like, that Awakening the Nightmare was an awesome expansion pack. I've got to get kills with the assault rifle. Oh well, he's gone. I think I'm gonna go get some more coffee. I'm starting to power down a little bit. Probably also need a quick something to eat for an energy burst. Thankfully, we got animal crackers. Guys, we have animal crackers. I love your stuff. Do the evolution of the zealots, evolution of the ranks. Well, evolution of the elites is coming up. And I am having a lot of fun. I was able to talk to some people, some ex-Bungie people, about the conception of the elites, how they were developed and stuff. And I'm very excited to talk about it, because it's actually a fun story how Bungie made the elites.
5 minutes remaining.
I'm kind of about the new flood designs having loads of glowy orange parts on them. Yeah, that was more done for like RTS games' sake. The idea is you can kind of, oh boy, they stand out a little bit more. Like as environments have gotten more complex, it's harder and harder for like photorealistic units to stand out. So you have to almost like design them in a very heavily exaggerated way so that you can spot them among the highly detailed grass and trees and flora and smoke and gunfire and stuff. So I guess the flood, you know, one of the solutions was cover them in these like glowing pustules. And according to Jeremy Cook, at least, it's not all of the flood. Only high-ranking flood units have glows on them. The regular infection forms and stuff, they don't have any glowies on them. Also notice that the floods that glow in Halo Wars 2, it's always on their back or their shoulder or their head. It's very rarely like anywhere else. The reason why is because, well, the camera is directly above them. You're looking down on them. So you want the glows to be visible to the player. That's why the banished are red. Exactly. It's so, you know, UNSC are green. Banished are red. It's for the sake of, like, RTS balancing. In the heat of the moment, when you've got dozens and dozens of units running around, all you need is a brief glimpse to tell who is who, you know? It's glowing, probably the flood. It's red, banished. Green, UNSC. Like, that's the logic. You kind of hyper-exaggerate and almost cartoonify the different factions. I'd imagine if the Flood came back in a proper mainline Halo, they would not be covered in glowies. Because you'd have the benefits of a first-person perspective, so you can see things a little bit better. Damn it. Did you review Final Fantasy 13 for IGN? Your voice seems like the same voice as the reviewer. I didn't. I didn't review Final Fantasy 13 for IGN. That's interesting, though. Did you ever end up getting Lego Star Wars? If so, what are your thoughts on it? I did, and Lego Star Wars is amazing. It's really good. Yeah, it's just like solid. In fact, it's kind of weird because in a lot of ways, Lego Star Wars, it's a Star Wars game we rarely ever get anymore. It's a, I mean, hell, if you've been wanting, like, I wish they'd make a video game out of the first Star Wars movie. They did. It's Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. If you replaced all the Lego elements with proper, like, realistic humans, it would be the best, like, you know, Star Wars adaptation video game ever. Lego Star Wars is really good. All right, we're gonna keep searching, and then I'm gonna go get Cookie. Hang on. Ugh. Hi, gorgeous. Guys, Rebecca's workroom looks really cute. It's like aggressively cute. Yeah, Lego Star Wars is really good. I love you, babe. What kind of cookie? I was in a rush, so I called Animal Crackers cookies. Yummy.
Slayer.
you felt Lego Star Wars was a bit lacking. Okay. What I will say is Lego Star Wars, it took me a while to actually get into it. Because for me, when I remember Lego Star Wars, I remember lots of, like, wordless comedy. Like, a lot of the comedy in it was, like, they weren't really telling stories, you know? It assumed you already knew the story of Star Wars, like you already saw the movie. So it was more like wordless spoofs on Star Wars moments. And so it took me by surprise that the Lego Star Wars game, now that, like, there is actually words and dialogue in it, sometimes it is just an adaptation of the story. And it's like, that's weird. Like, this is a serious moment in a Lego Star Wars game. Because they're talking.
Cauterization confirmed.
But it's after I got used to that, I was like, okay. Because I did try to get the mumble mode to work, and it just, you know, it was designed for dialogue. Yeah. If I were to do a Lego Star Wars game, I would go back to wordless spoofs of things. Because I think that you can get a lot of, like, value out of that. Because there are even moments in Lego Star Wars where you have to follow someone because story is happening. And I'm like, I guess I just kind of prefer my Lego games to be pure gameplay. I think of, like, how it's like you just skip cutscenes and boom, immediately levels there. But in this Lego Star Wars game, you can skip a cutscene and then you have to follow Emperor Palpatine as he talks about the state of the galaxy. And it's like a follow and listen moment in a Lego Star Wars game. It was weird that it wasn't just like pure arcadey fun gameplay from start to finish. But once you get over that, damn, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is good.
Active camo available.
Limitations do introduce innovation. Yeah, for sure. Like most artists even, whether it be video games, musicians, they'll tell you if they have limitations that they have to work within, that's usually when they're at their most creative. If they have just like a blank check and they can do whatever they want, sometimes they actually stagnate and they have a really hard time getting creative.
S7 sniper inbound.
Captain Crunch, you like that cereal? Yeah, Captain Crunch is really good.
S7 sniper available.
My favorite kind of cereal is probably Frosted Flakes, to be honest. But that's also kind of like a generic answer. Frosted Flakes? Well, the Special K with strawberry kind of like scratches that Special Flakes itch. But are you saying for yourself? Yeah. Yeah, we both will eat it. Okay, yeah, we should get some Frosted Flakes. You're right, babe. I love you. What other fun cereals should we get? Yeah, Cookie Crunch. Holy crap, that was good. Cinnamon Toast Crunch Gang. That's another good one.
Active camo available.
I also need to actually really thank Moody if he's still in the chat. A little while ago, he donated $50, and that's very sweet. That's incredibly generous. Like, I really appreciate it, Moody. I hope you're still watching this, dude. Yeah, shout out to Moody.
Perforated.
If you have a Twitter or a Discord, Moody, you should DM me. We should play some games sometime, man. That was very kind of you. See, I'm just super bland on Just Eat Toast. No, don't. Toast is good. Babe, is bread the only kind of food where when you burn it, it becomes a different kind of food? Because there's bread, but then you burn it and now it's toast. And we talk about it like it isn't just bread. Huh? Yeah, bread is pretty good. I hate to go back to the topic you already talked about, but I feel like the Doomsday State was a missed opportunity. They could have had the breakdown with you inside. Yeah, the Doomsday mechanic, they approached it too, it just wasn't really authentic, was it? Like, not that Halo needs to be authentic, but I guess, you know, in the past, I guess the collapse of your vehicle, the explosion felt more believable than this, like, cartoon Doomsday mechanic.
Our items have arrived.
Nearing victory.
Uh-oh. The bot is back. It's okay, babe. Let me see if I can do it. I see you up there with that sniper. Have you watched any Moon Knight? I'll be honest, I haven't. I don't think I'm that interested in Moon Knight. I don't know, just a lot of the Marvel stuff, when there were just Marvel movies, I kept up with them. I will confess, Ant-Man 2, I did not see, and it actually wasn't until, like, I kind of had to see it because of Infinity War. Or not Infinity War, Endgame, where I was like, okay, fine, I'll watch this stupid Ant-Man 2 movie. But as far as the shows go, WandaVision was really good. I really liked WandaVision, but that was kind of it. I don't know. Just, I look at, like, shows have gotten to the point now where they feel less like shows and they feel more like 12-hour movies. And I'm like, I don't want to watch, like, 12 hours of a Marvel show. I wish that this story could be condensed into a movie I could watch in one sitting, you know? All right, let's go over to Tactical Slayer. My apologies for eating. Have you watched the Daredevil show? I did. Okay, I lied. The Disney Plus stuff I haven't really kept up with. But Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage I all watched. Jessica Jones was fantastic. Daredevil Season 1 was brilliant. Luke Cage was fine. I don't know, Mike Coulter just... I don't think he's that good of an actor, to be honest. Do we know why they renamed it SWAT? I'd imagine they renamed it SWAT, or renamed it from SWAT, probably because they didn't want, you know, like swatting and stuff. It's a silly reason to rename it, but it's also like harmless. Luke Cage, more like lukewarm. Yeah, that's my... Luke Cage... Mike Coulter is just such a weird actor. I can't... I don't know if he's a bad actor or if his acting style is just something I'm, like, not used to. It's kind of like a Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, the lead for that show. Fuck, what was his name? Cisco. He was weird. Like, it took me a little while because he's Shakespearean. His acting style, he did a lot of play and theater, and I had to get used to that. At first, I thought he was the worst actor in the show, but after a while, I was like, oh, I actually think he's the best actor in the show. But with Mike Coulter, I don't think there's a single performance from him that I've ever gone, he nailed it. The first half of Luke Cage season 1 was good. Then the second half was eh. Yeah. Yeah, who was the first villain? Because he was fantastic. And then he died, and they, like, changed to a different villain, and that's when it just sucked. Cisco is so good. I can't tell if I like Cisco or Picard better. I mean, I have not watched Star Trek Picard because I like Picard, and I don't want to see what modern Star Trek has done to that beloved character. Somebody says, I hate SWAT so much. Yeah, I don't like SWAT in Halo Infinite either. Jack says this map is horrible. What sucks is I bet this map, a lot of the pacing problems for it would be fixed with 8-player big team battle, but no. The lead developer of Big Team Battle, I think, the same guy who worked on Warzone, said, nope, we can't go back to 8 players because of Warzone. It has to be 12 versus 12, and the longer I play Big Team Battle in Halo Infinite, the more I feel like maybe that was a mistake. Because I feel like you get these like death balls where it's like 6 players or 5 players all grouped up together, and it's just like, how am I supposed to get out of this situation? It's just like a mess. Where with Big Team Battle, I felt like there were just enough players that it felt big, but it wasn't too big of a number that you had just like these massive clusters of enemies all grouping up together. Everyone was spread out a little bit more. And it helps that with 8 versus 8, you could actually have Big Team Battle experiences on 4v4 maps. Where with 12v12, that's impossible. Like, this map would be a clusterfuck if there were 24 Spartans running around on it. Why are you playing it if you don't like it? Because I need to, because of the challenges. Do you think Firefight or a PvE mode is something on Number Company's radar? I'd hope. I'd hope. I'm sure that they have a lot of things that they're focusing on. right now, but I do hope that we get Firefight eventually, because this is like their third time in a row forgetting to include Firefight or not taking it seriously. Firefight would be so fun with Infinite's gameplay. Yeah, something like a House of Reckoning dojo. You know, where just like the banished are constantly pouring in and stuff. Like, that would be awesome. And I'm sure a developer has pitched that. Same with, I made the suggestion of what if in the open world, once you capture a banished base, you can, there is a terminal there, and you can choose to initiate Firefight, and then like a shield dome kind of traps you in that environment. Wave 1, like, and just banish drop ships and drop pods start coming in, and, you know, you just see how many waves you can survive. Oh, bot is here. No, that's okay, babe. I'm saying that mostly so people know that I am aware. Here we go.
I'd like to get another mod.
Yeah, we do now that we live together.
Yeah.
We do need another mod, don't we?
If anyone wants to message me on Discord.
Yeah, if anyone wants to message.
I can make a mod on YouTube.
Yeah. You're beautiful.
You're beautiful.
You look really pretty.
You look really pretty. I like looking at you on the screen.
Yeah?
I'm like, wow, who is that?
Well, who is that?
Yeah, what if I send him a message?
I love you. You look pretty with glasses. I thought YouTube streams were done. I thought so as well, but then I realized that would be silly to just straight up not do YouTube streams anymore. There's a lot of people on YouTube, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stream maybe every couple of weeks on YouTube, and then stream more consistently, I guess, on Twitch. Oh, babe, people liked me calling you beautiful. Yeah, you're beautiful. Oh, no. Where's your phone? You were literally just holding it. Where'd it go?
Yeah, I use it like 5 times a day.
Yeah, me too.
That's why I can't be mod really anymore. I'm sorry, you guys. Please help me.
I once turned on my phone's light to check under the bed to see if I put my phone there.
I've done that.
Yeah? Halo CE levels of spawn. Man, I feel like the MCC has warped a lot of people's perceptions of Halo Combat Evolved. Because Combat Evolved is a 2v2 game. It's not a 4v4 game. Like, it was designed with 4-player split screen on the original Xbox. And so you combine the increased players on each map with the, like, hit detection issues, as well as just the weapon balancing bugs in the MCC version of Combat Evolved, and you've got like the worst version of the game.
Fatalities give.
Oh no, sidekicks.
Wounds give. Victory.
Opinions, but I think Prometheans with a new design in Infinite would be better than the Endless.
Lost the lead.
We haven't seen the Endless yet, though. You know? Blue Hyphen says you are the man and donates $5. That was sweet. Somebody said I have a Giga Chad chin? Is that good or bad?
Well, that means that you are literally Giga Chad then, so that means you are the boss.
Hmm.
So that's a compliment. I found my phone, by the way. I found my phone.
Yeah.
I put the Discord link, you guys. I am the channel owner, so you can message me if you want to be on. Just tell me your username on YouTube.
Yeah. Rebecca. It may be the Late Night Gaming Discord, but Rebecca is undeniably the queen. That is her domain. She just allows me. HVB117 says, I love hearing your thoughts and commentaries about all games. I hope you stick around here for the streams. This can get you 2 pumpkins in Hyrule or 1 large fish, I hope. What is that?
What's that? What's that?
Yeah, that currency. What is that?
What's this currency?
Are you looking it up?
If someone could please tell us what the currency is, because I don't even know what to type in, you guys. But that's very sweet regardless.
Yeah, that's still sweet regardless.
2 pumpkins in Hyrule.
Oh yeah, and
Rupees.
rupees. 200 rupees?
Goodness.
Are those rupees?
Yes.
That's cute! What the hell?
That was so cute. Amazing.
Where do you find the Discord you'd like to join?
Oh, I sent the like. Oh, it was $2. That's sweet and cute.
That's very sweet and cute. Thank you for the 200 rupees.
Thank you. We'll buy pumpkins.
We'll buy pumpkins. There's the link for the Discord. Rebecca is fast with those links. I love you, babe. It's the rupee from India. Does India use rupees?
Yes.
That is cool. They made the money from Zelda real?
No.
Are we able to donate XP boosts or challenge swaps for super chats? I would feel very guilty if you donated me challenge swaps. So basically it lets you skip the challenge and just get a different one, but you have no control over what the different challenge will be. It is like 343 basically. They have like this really bad challenge system, and some of them are really grindy and boring. And conveniently, they let you buy the ability to swap the challenges if you don't like them. And it's like, oh, piss off, you know? Like, eyes roll into the back of my head because it's just like, that's so shady. And like any argument about, like, they didn't do it, like, no, it's not greedy. It's just there's an option. Like, okay, so don't make it monetizable. Just make it free. You're not going to make it free? Okay, got it. I think I understand why. Damn it. Have a wonderful stream, Sarah Castillo. Thank you for joining the stream. Handsome CR 0501 says, have you ever watched The Boys? Unknown. They stream YouTube and do great and funny Halo videos. You should check them out. I've played in a few streams. I'll check them out then. The Boys Unknown. That actually rings a bell. Boy! Ah. Ah. That's Rebecca's favorite soundbite currently from TikTok. Ah. Using a challenge swap at 3 a.m. challenge gone wrong?
Enemy team nearing victory.
Guys, Rebecca's sense of humor is so awesome because I can tell her the funniest joke I can think of and she just smirks. And then a grainy video of like a 7-Eleven and then it turns blue with like dubstep music is enough to make her laugh for like 10 straight minutes. I hate that ugh voice. We were doing that once all night. We even like ordered takeout and the person delivered it, and at 1 a.m. when I opened up the door to get the bag, I just outside. Like I hope the neighbors are okay because that was a bit impulsive.
Some of the apartments around us are like vacant.
Yeah, at least some of the apartments around us are vacant, so they didn't have to deal with that nonsense. She just hears Mr. Krabs walking noises and dies laughing. Yeah, that's basically... Yeah, if guys, the memes portion of the Late Night Gaming Discord, like, you guys have some fucking bangers. Rebecca fucking loves some of the stuff you drop in there.
Yeah, I may not reply to everything or type really, but I love going through everything and laughing.
If you could have a mundane piece of Halo lore explained, like the living conditions on the outer colonies, what would it be? Ooh, that's a good question. There's a lot of mundane things that, like, okay, going back to what we were talking about. Oh, I need a charger for my phone. Oh, honey, you're sweet. I love you, babe. You're beautiful.
You're gorgeous, handsome,
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, I can get it.
I did it.
Oh, thank you, babe. I love you. You're beautiful, perfect, kawaii princess.
You're amazing, kawaii, amazing, perfect. You're Rilakuma.
I'm Rilakuma? Ugh. People are saying maybe the apartments are vacant because of the sound at 1 a.m. What do you think of the Godzilla That was a Freudian slip. The Godzilla versus King Kong mode in Call of Duty Warzone. That's pretty cool. I have not even looked at the trailer. All I know is that it's apparently happening, and that's cool. I can only imagine what it is. The best meme I had on my phone to the memes section, Hail Mary. Yeah, good, do it. When I get a Killjoy challenge. And it was really funny because Rebecca was like trying to explain to me. She was like, no, it's just like a guy yelling. And it's funny. And she couldn't find it, so she was on her phone for like 10 minutes scrolling through TikToks. And it was like all the different screams, like the, like just yelling and screaming and yelling until she eventually found the specific sound. 343 tells you to get a Ravager kill from far away while 360 no scoping. Oh boy.
Enemy halfway to victory.
When my Banshee explodes from 1 pulse carbine burst. Does it? Is it 1 or is it like 2? Hey, Late Night, question. If you were to make your ideal Halo level, what would it be? Ooh. Ooh. My ideal Halo level would have backtracking. Hear me out, let me explain. It would be kind of like almost less of a level and more like you'd be located in an environment. It would be very snowy. Because I like snow, it would probably be set at night. Probably also on a Halo ring. And I'd have, like, in the sky, just like the lights from Sentinels going about doing their things. Like, in lieu of Christmas lights and stuff, it's more like Sentinel lights. You know, you could have, like, little Sentinels hovering around trees and scanning them, and from a distance they kind of look like Christmas lights because of the glowing, like eyes of the Sentinels. I probably then have, like, you go through a linear thing doing stuff. You'd probably enter some Forerunner caverns or something. You'd probably even do a thing on a UNSC base. And it would kind of, like, you'd trek and kind of zigzag across this environment doing little things. Like, I'd probably even have the main thing be you've got a base that you're situated in, and the base is under attack, and throughout the canyon are and the ice fields and everything are marine forces that are isolated, and you need to get them back to base. So it's you leave basically your base that's under siege in a Warthog, and there's constantly Banished trying to attack the base, or Covenant. And it doesn't matter how many of them you kill, they're gonna keep respawning. Phantoms keep respawning. And maybe if you stay there for too long, eventually, like the kind of units that spawn, it gets too hard and you could die and kind of soft lock the level, forcing you to restart. And so you're just kind of like, once you leave your base, maybe that's when things cool down because the AI stops spawning over there. But as long as you stay in your base, the AI will keep spawning over and over and getting increasingly harder. So you do have to leave your base, go find the Marines, and bring them back to the safety of the walls. But if you're bored, you could just stay in the base and see how long you could survive, you know? It's actually a really good idea for the seasonal narrative, like something similar to Destiny 2, doing an intro mission for each season. Your idea could be for Christmas. Oh yeah, you like that? I think I need to only get one more kill in Tactical Slayer, which sucks, because I have to play more Tactical Slayer. Do you plan on covering mods for the MCC now? There are a ton of really cool projects being worked on. Yeah, I definitely plan to cover some of them. Hey, Late Night, I finished Halo Infinite and found it to be a very boring game, just generally boring to get through. The world felt dead. Were you ever bored? I was, to an extent. I think it was probably a mistake to make the open world so grapple hook heavy, because that was kind of like the easiest way to get around was the grappling hook most of the time. And I also didn't like the lack of, like, I don't know, the open world just never really felt, I guess, like, alive with forces. You know, it felt very video gamey and very inorganic. I do wish that there were, like, more encounters, you know, like all the Marines that you encounter in the open world, every single one of them engaging in Banished forces, it's marked on your map. You know where it is. And I feel like that's the kind of stuff you don't want to mark on players' maps, because you want them to stumble upon that organically, right? I don't know, it's like giving away all of your secrets. Like, so much of Halo Infinite's open world is marked on the map. Like, it's almost embarrassed in case the player might not be able to, you know, just stumble upon something. So it's just like, oh, we don't want you to miss anything. Here is literally where everything is. And I'm like, it doesn't all need to be on the map. Have some of it be secrets. That's how Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild worked. That's how Elden Ring works. Like, it's fun when you stumble upon something, you know? And maybe, you know, if you don't want to go, you know, feel like you have to do a scavenger hunt to find everything, maybe have a skull that you can find that automatically puts every item of interest on your map. Because there's so many things that Halo Infinite does where it just, like, bakes it into the core design instead of making it an optional thing you can discover, like a skull. I think of, like, the Infinite equipment. Sure, that's fun, but I feel like it kind of detracts from, I guess, like, the world design, the way that, like, combat flows, that it's just like at any point you have infinite equipment. You'll never have to worry about resource management. The Banished can't use stuff against you because it's not a piece of equipment in the sandbox. It's a personal superpower. But infinite equipment could have been an awesome skull, but those are just some of my thoughts. I thought it was too easy, and a lot of what makes it very easy could have easily been a skull that you could find, but they just baked, I guess, easiness into the core design. And I think it makes the game a little bit forgettable since you just breeze through it because there's barely any challenge. There's very little reason, I guess, to interact with the world in a more meaningful way because you're never pressured, you know? Infinite equipment. You can spawn whatever you want, whenever you want at these fobs. You can fast travel around. You'll never get stranded in the open world. Not to say that open world games should not have fast travel, but hopefully that made some amount of sense. If you could have mundane piece of Halo lore explained. Oh, I forgot to answer that. Okay, if I could have a mundane piece of Halo lore explained. It would be, what would happen if humans came into contact? Oh my god, look at all these. These all want me to play just, like, different things. Going back to the topic about the biology and stuff, like viruses, like how it surely wouldn't like, you think of, like, cutscenes where, like, an elite, like, grips, you know, the throat of, like, a human, and then perhaps the elite gets, like, killed or whatever. Like, elites are probably covered in whatever covenant-y germs they have. Wouldn't that Marine have to, like, go into quarantine and go through a lot of, like, vaccinations and stuff because they came into contact with an alien creature that is probably carrying microbes that our immune systems are not prepared for? Like, just being physically touched by a covenant, wouldn't that be enough to, like, you know, send, like, a whole medical team? Like, okay, you have to go into quarantine now for 2 weeks, and we need to monitor you and make sure that you didn't pick up any weird bugs. Josh Faust Community says, I had a tough time going against the bosses in some cases. They are really challenging, even on easy. I think it's less that they're challenging, and it's more that they're just, like, not that well designed as bosses.
Points. Points give victory.
Because they're kind of like, the reason I'm playing SWAT again, by the way, is because I need to, like, get headshots with peak proficiency. Something like that. Something stupid. Even Halo Infinite can't help but do a bit of that bullet sponginess. And especially Bassus. I love Bassus. God bless him. He's so silly and lovable. I love Bassus. But that wasn't really, like, a well-designed fight. It's a first-person shooter where you're armed with weapons that are useful at a range beyond the player. and the enemy's primary attack is running at you and hitting you with things. And he has a lot of health, so most of the Bassus fight is just spent with you getting distance from him, turning around, shooting, going, oh no, he's coming, and then running away and doing that over and over and over and over again until he's dead. It was like, I don't know. Just guy runs at you, and he does it again and again and again. And that's his primary attack. It doesn't make for, like, the most compelling boss battle, in my opinion, you know? Was that perfect? No?
Double kill.
Can I even get perfects in SWAT? If not, we'll just leave SWAT. Chalklock seemed like a cool guy. Wish I didn't have to kill him. Yeah, Chalklock was fun. He just wanted to welcome Chief to his tower. Oh, also his name is Chalklock, which is really dumb. But that's why I like it. It's like a Geklar, which is also a very dumb name for an elite to have. They're fun names. The silly, goofy, dumb names for the aliens. The Sentinel boss fight was fun. Yeah, the Sentinel boss fight, that was a good one, I think, just because there was, like, really good feedback. It was perhaps easy, very easy, I'd argue, to the point where I almost wonder if maybe it shouldn't have been a boss fight, because that's kind of like the illusion of danger, where it's a fight that's so easy that you're going to be fine. I almost feel like that should have been an enemy type, like maybe tune down the health a little bit. And you could probably make that into, like, a really fun just enemy you could encounter in the open world, you know? It reminded me a little bit of the Halo 5 Promethean Knight, because as not that fun to fight as Prometheans are, the Halo 5 Knight was fun. That was, like, some good classic Halo fun, fighting the Knights in Halo 5. Where it's got an exploitable weakness, and if you can exploit that weakness, you instantly get the kill. Ironically, I think the Halo 5 Knight did a better job at understanding what made hunters so much fun to fight than the hunters themselves in Halo 5 and now Halo Infinite. Damn it. Bitbap is such a goofy name. Yeah, Bitbap's good. The grunt names are always, like, awesome. Damn it. Do you think the next Halo title will still run on the Blam engine? I believe a decade or so is long enough for 343 to experiment with completely new engines for the future of the franchise. I'm sure that they will probably adopt new technologies for, like, spin-off games. Kind of like Halo Wars, you know, that obviously didn't run on the Blam engine. But as far as, like, the mainline shooter titles are concerned, I doubt they would stray away from this technology, I guess, for Halo. I would like them to update it a bit more, you know. You know, get some sexy per object motion blur in here. Get some more, I guess, vivid rendering techniques to just make the game pop a bit more, because the Halo engine is starting to feel, like, technically dated. Like, it is kind of, like, I guess, sad that the community had to almost, like, bully 343 into adding like self-shadowing back. Like in the year of our Lord 2020, when they showed off Halo Infinite, it didn't have self-shadowing on the guns. It's like, is this a joke? Why not? And even then, in Halo Infinite, the current, like, shadowing thing that they use, I don't think it's proper self-shadowing. It's some kind of, like, trick to kind of give the illusion that there is self-shadowing. I can't help but think of how a Halo game running on id Tech would work. Yeah, that would be something, wouldn't that? Could be interesting. Let's go over to Fiesta. I'm very, very tired of playing Tactical Slayer. Oh. There isn't a peep on campaign expansions. Weird. Yeah, it is weird that we haven't like heard anything about campaign expansions. Ugh. I hope we have some news soon about the campaign expansions, or at least like innovations made to the campaign itself. Because I think that if they wanted to, something that they could do with Halo Infinite's campaign is go the Ghost Recon Wildlands route, where that game launched, and it was very much not great. Like, it was fine, but it wasn't brilliant, you know? And what they did was they just added to it and added to it and added to it. And eventually Ghost Recon Wildlands became a pretty good open world game. Probably one of my favorites, actually. And I think with Halo Infinite, they could do something similar just by adding more stuff in the open world. Like more things to do. I almost think like Ubisoft, a lot of their open world games, I think, are very formulaic, not that impressive. But what they're very good at is constantly distracting you with things. It's like clockwork. Every 60 seconds or so when you're running around, something happens that takes maybe a minute to complete. Whether it's a car broken down, you fix it, or a guy has prisoners, you free them, or activities are always happening. And I do think it is if I remember right, I heard a GDC talk about it, where it is actually something they do, Ubisoft. They do it deliberately. Games like Red Dead Redemption 2, as an example, it actually has a thing happen every 90 seconds in the open world. And there was actually a lot of discussion by developers because, you know, some of the reactions to Red Dead 2 was the game's boring, the open world feels too big and stuff, and it's like, is it possible that players are just so used to that Ubisoft every 60 seconds that just an extra 30 seconds, that's a little bit too long for them, and it gives the impression that the world is empty. I like Red Dead 2, by the way. That's a freaking great open world game. So I watched your Wii catch-up vid, and I wanted to say your point about who the Halo show is for. I've seen in person. My friend's partner can't get into the games, but she's loving watching the series with us. Yeah, see? It wasn't really made for us, because there are people that just don't play video games. Well, there now is a Halo show. And it is strategically designed to appeal to people that like watching shows. That's kind of why it's almost like, to a comical degree, everybody in the Halo show has some interpersonal drama with somebody. You know, almost like a cartoonish extent. There isn't like a single person in the Halo show who's just like, no, they're just normal. They're just like a good person. They've all got some kind of drama with another character in the show. And it's because, you know, it's for the sake of like people who just like watching shows, who like binge watching them, I should say. There isn't a lot of interpersonal drama in the Halo universe. And so, for the sake of like marketing and branding, you take the character of Master Chief and you make a new version of him that does have a lot of interpersonal drama. What was your first reaction to seeing the Master Chief's buns? Really eye-rolling. That's like, so the Halo show has moments where it's like really good and like the production value is really good. Even sometimes the writing is really good. But then it has just like these moments of embarrassing cheapness, I guess is the best way to put it. Stuff like that, like the just random people getting naked feels very like desperate almost. Like very like artificial and forced. And it's just like, this is embarrassing. Why are you guys doing this? And that's kind of the Chief stuff where it's just like, why? Why? You know? There's a deeper message behind Master Chief's buns, trust me. I'll believe you.
Gravitational mallet procured.
Gain the lead.
Subject now perforated.
Damn it. Okay. I kind of found episode 6 laughable at points. I did like episode 6. It was kind of odd how like sociopathic Chief came across. It was very like just weird and bizarre, but I got it in that like he was never gonna let Halsey die, you know? He was doing that to Halsey more so to test, because he doesn't trust Halsey. Like, all trust is broken, and unfortunately the trust was broken after she installed an AI chip into his head that can control him. So he had to find a way to figure out how far the control went. And that's what that was. He was never actually going to let her die in there. Which is why he pulled her out last second. And then he's like, you know, okay, I got the information I needed. I just needed to see, you know, how much control Cortana had over my body. So he was never meaning to kill her. So what is the reason with the Chevy Toho on Madrigal? I have one of the set designers drove one. There are, when we talk about moments of cheapness, stuff like that. What was the episode where Pablo Schreiber spent like most of it like just wandering around his backyard in the woods? It's stuff like that where it's just like, this is so bad. It feels like a YouTube fan film, you know, where it's just like, where's the budget? What happened? Why are they filming Pablo in the Chief costume in his backyard? It's definitely not the worst thing in the world, though. There are some, like, ridiculous things where people are, like, claiming the Halo show is the worst thing on planet Earth. It's literally unwatchable. It's like, no, it's standard. It's fine. You know, it's not great, but it is certainly not unwatchable. It's just a very unambitious science fiction show with Halo characters. And if it didn't have the Halo characters, I would probably be a lot less interested in it than I am. But it is not unwatchable. And I hope that with season 2, because they greenlit it for a second season, I hope that after that they get a little bit more ambitious. I want them to get some like better writers. Hell, look for people from The Expanse, because it's clearly trying to be a clone of The Expanse, the Halo show. Just find some of the writers who worked on that show. Get them in on the production. They could probably do a lot of interesting things with the Halo universe. I don't mind that it's not canon. Like, I think that's the least of the show's concerns. Just some of the issues with it are that it's very unambitious at the moment. The guy naked in the pool pisses me off. Such a weird character. Yeah, I like that actor a lot. He's a brilliant actor. I love him so much. But that's like another moment where it's just like, why is this man who kind of looks like a fish naked, you know? It's like weird. It's distracting. It doesn't add to the show. You could just have him lounging around in a bathrobe and he'd have the exact same like douchebag vibe, you know? He's just naked for like no reason. Hi, baby. How you doing? You getting hungry?
Yeah.
Should we order something? We can order something. Yeah. What should we order? She's thinking. Literally anything? Are you in the mood for eating something with your hands or with a fork?
Fork.
Are you in the mood for eating something hot or cold?
Hot.
Hot? Do you want something chewy or crunchy? Crunchy, okay. Do you want like something meat-y? Yeah? You feeling Chinese again? We could get something different? No? Do you want...
Domino's at Pizza's the Hut. People are being funny.
Oh, people are being funny. Chat, give us some suggestions for dinner.
Why would you want to order cold food?
Yeah, that's true. It's more asking the questions. It's less about like, yes, I would like to order cold food. And it's more like helping narrow down what sounds good, I guess. Oh man, there's chaos happening. Chuck E. Cheese. The plight of every man, figuring out what his girl wants to eat. I'd say that's the plight of living in general. When you're living on your own and you don't have like parents, or just like, what's for dinner? Oh, mom's making something. It's like, fuck, what do we want to eat? You know? Yeah, that's... Yeah, it's, I first start with, do you want to eat something with your hands? Or something with a fork? And then after that, it's like, okay, got it. Do you want something kind of like cold? Or do you want something more warm? Or do you want something hot? And then you could go into the texture. Are you in the mood for something chewy or crunchy? And you still might not figure it out. And that's when you can start going into, do you want a sandwich? You know? You want a sandwich? Okay, guys, we figured it out. Okay, a sandwich. What kind of Sammy? Covenant fried rice, somebody says. No. Ah, I missed all those shots. Get Wingstop. Wingstop. What's Wingstop? Charles Entertainment Cheese. Remember, that's the name of Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, the E stands for entertainment. Charles Entertainment Cheese. I don't think I'm going to get that black visor, guys. I just can't do any more of this, you know. It's so weird how Halo is one of the few games that would work better as a movie, but they made it a show. Kind of. It depends on the Halo story. Halo 2, I don't think that would work well as a movie. I mean, it could. But the first Halo game, if you were to adapt that, I 100% think it would work well as like a blockbuster movie. Halo 4, that would work better as a show because of like all the melodrama. Rubens are always nice. Yeah, let's we should order some Sammys, babe. What's your opinion on the last episode of Halo? I thought it was pretty good. I thought the last episode of Halo, it also, that's when kind of like the writing, I noticed. The writing, not just the writing, but also the editing and directing took a significant upgrade. I wasn't looking at the credits, so I don't know if there was like somebody else directing episode 6, but I noticed it was different a little bit. Do you ever get tired of Halo? Of course I do. I have to cover Halo. Of course I get tired of Halo. I usually have to take brief sabbaticals from the Halo series.
Thrusters firing.
Panera? Yeah. That's a good idea, babe. That's what I mean. Halo Combat Evolved is basically Predator or Aliens. I'd say Halo Combat Evolved is more Lord of the Rings. Almost. Because Halo Combat Evolved isn't like a horror story. It's more of like an adventure story. Do you have any strong opinions on Halo 4? Personally, it might be one of my favorite games in the series regarding storytelling, music, and art style, but it has its flaws, you know? Halo 4, I think it's one of my favorite campaigns in the series, despite some of the issues that I do have with it. I don't really like the art style, or I think it's a pretty game, but it's not how I want Halo to look. The music I don't really like. It's just that's not Halo's like identity to me. Like Halo 4's soundtrack I think is very weird sounding. It doesn't quite sound like a Halo game. The story I think is also good. It has its flaws, but I think it's good ultimately. It's a pretty good story. Yeah, you know, nothing's flawless, and Halo 4 certainly is not flawless, but I think it's a good game. What would I like? I could go with that grilled cheese. Yeah. Or do you think there's something else that's more yummy? Yeah? Yeah. Why don't we do that? I love you. I like some tracks. 117 and Wreckage stand out. Yeah, Wreckage is a good one. 117, I think, is partially good. I think a little bit too much time is spent on like ba 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 ba, like building up, and then the ba 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 ba, like that was the best part of it. And that's over so fast, and then it gets back to ba 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 ba, like building up and then quieting down. It's like I think of like the ba 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 ba. Like every part of the Warthog theme for me is badass and replayable. Where with 117, it feels almost kind of like embarrassed to have extended periods of badassery, you know, that sound good in gameplay. It's just like, I don't know, a little bit too music-y, if that makes any sense. I like the Halo 4 Warthog sound. It's good. Which Warthog sound? Because on the MCC, the Warthog sound is currently, like, busted or something. It doesn't sound right on the MCC. They bugged it in the PC port, and I'm not sure if they ever actually ended up fixing it.
New construction applied.
Lost the lead.
Ammo reserves depleted.
Gained the
Damn it. Long live Halo 5. This is Stephen Thomas. Are you doing all of your streams with a face cam on? I could if you like it. If you could have one alien species as a roommate, who or what would it be? Well, I'd probably have to think about, like, which alien species would I have the easiest time getting along with. I guess maybe, as much as I hate them, the Yonhet, where it's humanoid. It looks like a guy wearing a rubber mask. Outside of that, it's just a human being. That would probably be the easiest to live with, you know.
High occupancy vehicles.
Where, like, a jackal, I feel like a jackal would try to sell me for cash. A grunt, I don't know where I could get him a reliable source of methane so he could breathe. An elite, I don't even know if an elite can fit through that front door. You know, let alone, like, sleep in any of these rooms. It would probably be a little bit too cramped.
Biohazard confirmed.
Oh boy. Arbiter would be a cool roommate. Maybe. I feel like Arbiter would have better things to do. I feel like he wouldn't have the patience to be someone's roommate, you know? Why didn't you use your face cam before? Well, honestly, because my face cam is not that good. The quality of it is pretty poor. Which I'm hoping to improve that maybe someday when I can afford it. Let's go over here. Bruh, sword dude got dunked on by the plasma pistol. I know, right? That was fun. I was too lazy to hit the Y button, so I just kept slapping him with those plasma pistol shots. Damn it. I scuffed that flawless. How would Atriox as a roommate be if he had to be your roommate? He'd probably kill me, right? He'd probably either kill me or by the end of the week, I'd be convinced in banished supremacy. I don't know, I can't help but feel I'd annoy the shit out of him and it would end with either me being killed or him having an emotional breakdown because of how intolerable I am.
Calculating
Like, could you imagine trying to go to the movies with Atriox? The bot is back. Let me nuke the bot. No, it's okay, babe. I'm doing it. I say the bot is back so that people know that I'm not just ignoring it. I'd like to see some Halo Custom Edition maps remade in Infinite. Yeah, me too. I'd like more remakes in Halo Infinite. I know that the community says that they don't want remakes, and why not? That's my take on it, basically. Halo remakes always play differently in their new games, and I think more so than like Halo 5, Halo Infinite is really ripe for some remakes of maps because of the equipment system. You don't have Spartans like flying around and thrusting and boost dodging, and you know, if the grappling hook breaks a certain map, it just doesn't have to be on that map. Atriox would steal all of your popcorn. I don't even think Atriox popcorn would be nourishing enough for him, because like brutes are pretty gigantic. I'd assume that their metabolism, Atriox would probably have to eat like at least a cow a day, and I just don't know if I can like supply enough food for him, you know. Yeah, I guess we could bake cakes. Well, what if brutes are kind of like dogs, you know, where they have to eat meat? What do monkeys eat? Can monkeys eat chocolate?
5 minutes remaining.
I guess the closest thing we have to go off of are like primates. Can primates eat chocolate? Not an alien, but a monitor roommate would be great. Oh, the monitors. Oh, gorillas are okay.
No. Gorillas are mainly vegetarian diet.
Really?
Bamboo shoots and fruits. That's really cute.
Also, Atriox could probably eat a cake.
And they like to pick the tiny little fleas and termites.
That's where they get most of their protein from.
Well, they could probably groom us.
Oh, Atriox?
Yeah, we could put fleas on us and he could pick them off.
We could put fleas on us.
Yeah, for bonding.
What if we put like little chocolates on us as fleas and let him like pick it out of our hair and eat it?
Gained the lead.
I couldn't live with a monitor. I'd be forced to rip its eye from its socket.
Nearing victory.
Yeah, I feel like a monitor would actually kind of drive me crazy after a couple of days, because it would just be like there's not a lot a monitor can do, you know? Like they don't exactly have like hands. They don't need to eat. So like I also assume they don't get like tired, because, you know, due to the fact that they're robots. So I'd imagine it would just be constantly like yakking my ear off. Like it just would not shut up. And I'd probably go crazy after a couple of days with a monitor. Nice, very nice, Caesar Chan. Oh, there we go. Imagine braiding all of Atriox's fur and putting little bows in it. Yeah. I'd live with exuberant witness. Yeah, Exuberant Witness would probably be like the easiest of the monitors to live with since she's not like psychotic. I'd keep a hunter worm in a tank as a pet. I don't know if I'd keep a hunter worm. They look too like creepy to me. Like they're cool looking in the games, but if one was real, I'd feel a little bit more like anxious. You know? I'm just looking at all these like earn cumulative player score in X, and it's just like I have to play all these, like I can't grind them all in a match per match basis. I have to like, oh my god. I miss that monitor. Exuberant? I could live without Exuberant. Roommates with the Primordial. Legolo in the shape of a dog. Oh, like hunter worms taking the shape of a dog. Well, I feel like that still wouldn't be the same. You'd just have like a mess of ugly worms vaguely in the shape of a dog. You know, it still wouldn't look like a dog. Dane Heathiel says, Exuberant was the best part of Halo 5. I thought she was annoying. It didn't help also that they used the wrong voice filter for her voice. It's supposed to be a guitar flanger. That's the filter you're supposed to use that gives Guilty Spark that warble to his voice, and 343 used the wrong filter. So she didn't sound like a monitor. She didn't sound right. And then it's granted, it's not really her fault, but she was also introduced right when the Halo 5 story was getting really dumb. So I have a lot of like, when I think of her, I just think of like, I just hate Genesis so much. I hope Genesis is thrown into a sun or something in the Halo universe and I never need to think about that place again, you know?
Fiesta.
Oh, so you know Hidden Xperia. Name every racial slur in the Halo universe. I don't think I'm gonna do that. If it's alright with you. The ultimate challenge is 3 perfect kills. Is it? That's easy. That's easy. All you have to do is get a stalker rifle, sit at the back of a big team battle map, and take your time. You'll eventually get it. Like, literally just camp with a stalker rifle at the back of a map in big team battle. All the 343 monitors sound off to me. Yeah, they're not using the correct sound effect for them, the guitar flanger. Which I can imagine, like when you're somebody who works, in sound design and stuff, and you're like, okay, we have to design this science fiction thing, and you put a lot of work into making it sound synthetic and like robotic and kind of maybe hollow because it's a circle and a sphere, and it's a lot of work went into making the monitors sound very like, synthetic in the 343 titles, and it's like, it's really good work, but it's not what a monitor sounds like. It just kind of sounds like a guy with a guitar flanger over his voice. What would you use as a naming scheme for a set of unique flood vehicles? Flood vehicles? Like that the flood are driving? You know what could actually be, like, if we're thinking of, like, flood biomass that has, like, taken over a vehicle and corrupted it and turned it into an organism, Halo Wars 2 style, what are diseases that, like, animals can get that, like, affect animals, I guess? Or what are, like, you know, afflictor? No, that sounds dumb. Because you'd want to come up with something cool, but not, like, sad, you know? Because you don't want to be like, yeah, I named this thing after this awful, poor thing that innocent dogs get on occasion. Like, you don't want to get there. You want to make a flood thing that sounds cool, but evokes the idea of an illness that animals get, since most UNSC vehicles are named after animals. So the idea is that this is like a UNSC vehicle that's sick, that's corrupted. But even then, I feel like naming things like that's not really in the Flood style, you know? They usually just, like, whatever form, you know? Because the idea is the Flood is the what's it called? The shape-shifting sickness or something like that. So it's just, like, infection form, combat form. Like, it mutates its hosts into a form that serves a purpose. If you're an infection form, your duty as that, like, you know, flood organism, it's to infect. If you're a combat form, your duty is combating. There's a bot. It's back. Okay. Yeah, and the goal for that naming scheme is you don't want to name them something, like, sad, you know?
Ammunition. Low.
Because, like, there are people that own dogs, and you don't want to evoke a dog suffering in your game, you know? Because dogs are good boys and girls. That's why games like The Last of Us 2 suck. Ooh.
Did you apply for proper permits?
Where are they coming from? Where's their spawn now?
Killing spree. Double kill.
Can't wait till Pumpkin's with us. Somebody says you should name it the vehicular manslaughter form. That's pretty good. The Last of Us 2 sucks because dead dog. No, it doesn't suck because dead dog. It sucks because there's nothing deep being spoken there. It forces you to empathize with a dog and be like, oh, a cute puppy, and then makes you kill the dog. And then expects you to applaud it for being deep. And it's like, no, I just feel like shit. Like, you just made me feel bad. And not in, like, wow, this really made me... No, it just sucked. Like, that was mean-spirited. There was nothing deep going on there. That was just a cruel, cheap way to get shock value, you know? Ooh.
5 minutes remaining.
The cordyceps? I think we can go more creative than that. You know what? What are terminologies related to fungal infections? Or I guess what would be a what are animals? What's a term? What's an animal term for like an animal that's very harmful to an ecosystem? I know like invasive species, but are there other terms like that? Because we could do that. Okay, UNSC vehicles are typically named after animals, right? Well, what is an animal that is incredibly harmful to an ecosystem? Maybe we could name that the something form, you know, for vehicles. Ted Geo says, it's just showing you two perspectives between Abby and Ellie. I disagree with your take. The game was already showing me different perspectives. I don't think it had to force me via gameplay reasons, as in I literally could not get to the next room without killing this dog. I think it could have come up with a better way to do that. It just came across as very mean-spirited, that whole sequence in The Last of Us 2. And granted, The Last of Us 2, I think, is a game that is very mean-spirited in a lot of ways. I think a lot of its attempts at just nihilism and stuff are very, like, surface level and not that deep. I think the criticisms of The Last of Us 2 are blown way out of proportion. Like, it's not this awful video game that people claim it is. No, it's fine. It's just... my frustrations with it are that it's not as smart as it thinks it is. And some of the things it does to try to seem smart, I think, are not really smart. They're just mean. An animal carrying rabies can be called a vector. Well, I think that's just a general infection term, but you're on the right track. That's a good idea, a vector form. The Last of Us 2 is the modern-day Halo 2. I'd agree with that, like something incredibly divisive that's probably going to be analyzed for, like, years to come. And the thing about The Last of Us 2 is I really don't like that game, but I do like when games like The Last of Us 2 come out. Like, you know, your Wolfenstein 2s, your Last of Us 2s, like just these super divisive and controversial games, because usually as the years go on, a lot of interesting analysis comes out of them. The Sphere Hunter says endless graphic slaughter isn't very fun. Yeah, it's just like mean, you know? Like it's not really saying anything that deep. It just comes across as really mean-spirited. Which also, the Sphere Hunter is in the chat, which is pretty cool. I'm not even sure what they're going to do with The Last of Us, I guess, going forward. Because I'd assume that they'd probably still try to, like, I guess, continue the story of Ellie. But the response to it, I wonder how they've, like, interpreted it internally at the studio. Because I know sometimes developers can kind of have, like, very gut reactions to stuff like that and hard pivot. And sometimes not even, like, because that's what they want to do. Sometimes you do get pressure. The Sphere Hunter says, hello. Collab with late night gaming? That would be cool. Is this Xbox? This is Xbox. The reason why is because the last time I tried streaming from a computer while using the face cam, it was kind of a nightmare. My computer struggled to run the game and the streaming setup and the camera. And some bad things happen. So just to be safe, I'm using the Xbox. Oh boy. Are you going to play Starfield when it comes out? I hope. Remember when Killzone was marketed as the Halo killer? What kind of... So Killzone when I was a teenager, Killzone I had this incredible animosity towards. And as the years have gone on and I start to like understand that game development isn't like, you don't have like a bunch of like snivelly people in a room trying to like scheme how they can rip off other games. Game development is more human than that. So like my opinions on Killzone have softened over the years. And from what I understand, actually, the whole Killzone as a Halo killer thing, that's unfortunately not even something Guerrilla Games really were aiming for. In fact, they were very good friends with Bungie around the time. One of the developers of Killzone 2, I think, even says after the infamous CGI trailer of Killzone 2, they actually went out for drinks with some Bungie employees who were there, and they actually talked like offhand about, you know, just things about game design, what they were up to, what technologies they were thinking about doing, and stuff like that. So I've started to like, you know, shift, I guess, how I view some of those games. Killzone's still not a very good game series. It's still a very, very mediocre video game series. Oh boy. Late night, Steve Downs and Nathan Fillion are both going to be at a convention in Texas in June, and I can't wait to meet them. That's pretty cool, actually. Are they going to be there together, or are they doing independent things at that convention? Because that's actually pretty cool. Oh boy. The game is more optimized on Xbox, so Xbox is the way to go for now. There is also a bit of that, though I do know that the simulation setting on the PC also affects like hit detection, stuff like that, so the Xbox uses a lower setting, so there are weird hit detection issues that happen on the Xbox that don't happen on the PC. I know that somebody in the community is actually tracking that, which is kind of interesting, but I don't know, man. Halo Infinite is just such a very, like, very interesting game. The choices made. How you doing, babe? It's almost here. All right. We're gonna close up shop soon, okay, guys? Because food is almost here. Yeah, I guess after this game we could probably close up. Gotta eat, you know, sustenance and all that. That was fair. Did you see how I unloaded into the scorpion? Killzone is just one of those games that comes for free when you buy the PlayStation. Yeah, basically. Somebody had the best quote ever for Killzone Shadowfall, which is... because Killzone Shadowfall was back when the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One just released. And basically what that person said was, Killzone Shadowfall is what you play when you really didn't like that year's Call of Duty and you're not a Battlefield fan. That's basically what it was as a game. It literally was just shooter game for the PS4. Like, there wasn't a lot of identity or personality behind it. My older brother attended a music technology seminar with Marty O'Donnell a few years ago. Apparently, he was a lot of fun to work with and loved questions. Dude, Marty O'Donnell is he is a character. That man. Every conversation I have with him is the opposite of how I expect it to go. That's cool that he did a music technology seminar, though. I feel like Marty O'Donnell is the kind of person where I would pay to take music classes from him. That's also pretty cool that I guess they settled their lawsuit with the Halo series and Microsoft. All of its shortcomings aside, I'd say that Killzone's art style is pretty solid. It definitely is solid. Like, that's a cool-looking science fiction series. The problem with it, I think, which is what Killzone 3 suffered from, was because it was so grim and gloomy and kind of like dark and oppressive looking, it wasn't very approachable for everyone. Because believe it or not, that does matter to publishers, like if your IP is approachable. And so they tried to like soften it up, like get away from that like space World War II look with Killzone 3. The problem is that that was kind of Killzone's identity. It was space World War II. And when you don't, that's really all Killzone had. And so when you get away from that, there wasn't a lot of legs to that IP. There wasn't much else you could do with it. So it kind of floundered itself into non-existence. And it's going to be interesting to see how they, I guess, like, if they do ever try to revive the Killzone franchise, because... Oh boy. Yeah, I just feel like there's not a lot you could do with it now. Outside of, like, what? Prequels? But prequels are boring. Let's address the elephant in the room. Do you like pineapples on pizza? Yeah, pineapples on pizza are fine. Get some Hawaiian sauce. Some peppers.
Extreme distance.
Oh boy.
Calculating.
Yeah, Marty would still hit students with a ruler. He probably would, right? Or he'd make you write an essay on the music theory behind hot cross buns as a punishment. The game is almost done, friends. After this game is over, we're going to call it for the stream so that Rebecca and I can eat. Also, hopefully so she doesn't have to open the door. I can be the person forced to socialize. I love you. You look pretty. Thoughts on the futuristic Call of Duty art styles? Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4 are ugly as sin. Those games look like disgusting. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is okay. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is probably the strongest artistically.
Biohazard confirmed.
Double kill.
Those are my thoughts on them.
Celebration.
Two more kills. Damn. Have a good dinner. It was great hanging out with you. I appreciate that. It was fun hanging out with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the new apartment. Ugh.
Defeat.
Alrighty, friends. That was a good stream. You guys take care. Make sure to drink fluids, water even. And I shall see you all next time. This was a lot of fun.